Afternoon swimmers. So today I've come all the way down to the Chew Valley, just south of Bristol, to my mate Nick Goldsmith, who runs Hidden Valley Bushcraft, but it's not hidden anymore because I found it. So today we're going to have a look at some of the stuff that really interests me, but I'm not an expert at. So we're going to look at some of the stuff in the water, some of the stuff to look out for, some of the flora and fauna.
Britain's most poisonous plant.
We're just going to have a look at some of the things that you need to be aware of as a wild swimmer. So today is all about learning for me, and hopefully it will be something that will be of interest to all the other wild swimmers out there. So stay tuned, and we're going to go and jump in the river now. So if you're not used to wild swimming or being in cold water, it is a good idea just to take it easy and to breathe and make sure that your body's getting accustomed to it. So
I'm going in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just starting to get those feel-good vibes now, so I'm going to start to wade out a little bit further.
For me, it's a little bit different because I can't ease myself into the water. I ended up just launching myself into the water and just dealing with it, which is the totally wrong way to do it.
Very different experience, I guess. So I'm going for the incremental method, where I'm up to my waist, and at the moment I'm still under control. But once my mantle and my core goes under my head, I'm then going to get that mad rush and try to control my breathing.
Whereas I'm already in. And yeah, it's a bit interesting. So you can see how high the water's been. You can see some of the mud up in the tree line up there. This gets really deep here.
Well, interestingly, you say that. In 1968, this entire valley was basically the victim of a massive flood. I mean, people lost their lives, materials, cattle, all sorts were washed away in it. And so I think that's why you now have this system of gates the whole way along, leading from the Chew Valley Lake further up all the way through here, so that there's a level of control now. But other factors, and we just spoke about, are quite important, because like any river, it naturally meanders and finds its way through the valley, and that some of those factors can be farm animals. This piece, actually, if you spin around, you'll see large rocks sticking out of the bank, and that's because not so long ago there was actually a small landslide here, and a lot of it got washed in, and again, that's the result of animals over time weakening the bank system. And then I think it was 2 winters ago that lot just gave way completely. So things that we're looking at as a wild swimmer, from a safety point of view, I wanted to talk a little bit today about some of the sort of big no-nos or things to look out for, and one of them is just over here, is Britain's most poisonous plant. It is the hands down most poisonous plant, okay, and it's hemlock. It's what killed the ancient playwright Socrates, and it's very benign looking. It doesn't have any coloration that would make you think, oh, don't come near me or touch me, and you might make the mistake as a wild swimmer of grabbing hold of handfuls of it to pull yourself back up the bank. Something you definitely do not ever want to do.
So remind us, why did he have to take hemlock?
I'll give you the layman's terms. He basically at the time, I think,
wasn't it something to do with the world rotating around the sun?
No, it was a little bit more to do with he'd upset some of the Senate and the people in power, and been a bit of a naughty boy and a bit of a gobby individual, so he was kind of put to death by having the soup that was prepared by the shepherds at the time. They would have gone out, collected the hemlock and made a vegetable soup, and the only reason we know about its effects is because he had a scribe at his deathbed who was writing down what was happening to him. And one of the major effects of this is this feelings of euphoria followed by mass cramping. Okay, you just die fully locked on with your mouth in that kind of locked position, and that's where the expression comes from. He looked at me with a sardonic smile. The sardonic smile comes from ancient Sardinia, comes from that time and that place when hemlock was being used for people that were too old, couldn't contribute to the family unit anymore, had lost all their teeth, weren't able to collect the firewood. Okay, so you'd have a bit of a party for Nanny, she'd have the special soup, and that was her off to the netherworld.
Drifted off to the netherworld.
There we go.
So at this time of the year, can you talk a little bit about what might be at the bottom on the riverbed? You know, thinking about migratory fish.
Things to mind for, yeah. So I mean, that's why we're not really moving outside of this area too much, because I don't want to cause too much disturbance to the trout, to the crayfish, to the number of invertebrates that are living at the bottom of the river. But mainly it's about, and I can just feel at the moment those gravelly beds, and they are so important for the trout to lay their eggs on. So as a wild swimmer, it's another thing to be mindful of, is your impact upon the riverbed. It's not just the riverbed, it's the riverbanks, it's the branches. I mean, you can see, if you turn around, you can see a rope swing. It's a very common sign that this area is used by people and frequented by people. But of course, what happens to the branch above that? So when that eventually gives way and snaps off, that could then open up the tree to fungal attack, and then before you know it, the whole tree's coming in maybe a year later once that fungal attack has got hold. So we need to be thinking about how we interact with the outdoors all the time, because remember, it's not just one or two of us anymore, it's 80,000 of us since COVID or more have discovered the outdoors again, and everybody's out here right now.
So one keen sort of aspect of certainly being in as a wild swimmer is a lot of wild swimmers choose to kind of litter sweep or litter pick on the way around, and you know, as we're coming into the summer, we're noticing a lot more places covered in litter. So as a wild swimmer, I think it's really important to be mindful of our environment and to keep on that trend of picking up stuff, even if it's not yours. So what
a lovely positive thing to do, and that kind of, you could almost argue that that's counteracting the negative side, or the perceived negative side of the effects of you on this kind of quite delicate ecosystem by picking up other people's rubbish. That's lovely.
So can you talk a little bit about sort of things, sort of diseases you might find in the water, like leishmaniasis?
Well, there's a number of things really to look out for, and as somebody who, through my various adventures and military career, has actually had Giardia lombardosis and Campylobacter twice, I can say I'm very big on trying not to pick up any nasties from water. But yeah, that's two I can name. But basically, it's Cryptosporidium. It's bacteria which are often encased in mud that you might ingest, and then when it gets into your stomach or your tract, your acids break down that little mud capsule. Then you get whatever nasty it was comes to get you. Oh, this is lush.
So there is one thing that is quite prevalent for particularly for wild swimmers, and that is swimmer's itch. Now, I'm no expert.
It's a snail, isn't it?
It's a snail, and as I understand it, the snail wants to breed, and it releases, I don't know, young snails, and it can attach itself to swimmers as they go past reed beds. And obviously there's a reed bed there, so it's just something to be aware of. Yeah, now, if you know anything more about swimmer's itch and you can comment it, then drop us a quick comment in the boxes below.
That'd be good to hear. I mean, I'd love to learn more about it, but just a quick one on reed beds. Reed beds are in fact the river's filtration system. The reed bed, after all, is what you put in after you've just built a new housing estate. Okay, all of those sabre tanks and waste coming out of your house will then run off into a massive soakaway, which then feeds into, you've guessed it, a reed bed which has been placed there and man-made, that then runs off into the river, because the reeds are an incredible filtration system and a sign of a healthy river.
Out of the water. We're out of the water. That was amazing, wasn't it?
Mate, I am buzzing.
Thank you very much for letting us dip in your bit of the Chew Valley.
Oh, thank you for coming down.
And you know, it's been really appreciative to pick your brains, you know, to find out a little bit more about what's in the river and what we need to look out for.
Well, I mean, like I say, it's been an absolute privilege to have you down today, Si. If you like what you've seen today, please make sure you hit the like button and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. Also, if you're interested in seeing more along the kind of bushcraft lines, just head over to Hidden Valley Bushcraft channel and once again hit like and subscribe. It's really important that, well, for me certainly, that as veterans that we work together and keep promoting the incredible benefits of the outdoors, whether it's wild swimming, bushcraft, or whatever it is. Yeah, get outside, people.
Again, massive thank you, Nick, and please, yeah, go and check out Hidden Valley Bushcraft. Well worth having a look at. Cheers, thanks so much.
Bye.